All right, blinds are going to be 200.
All right, guys, we are back. We are playing 200,000, 400,000 coming to you from the Seminole Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida, for the potentially conclusion of the Lucky Hearts Open here. Our shorter stack's going to have 25 blinds.
Yeah, it's got to end sooner or later.
Yeah.
A walk.
Brian folds a small blind.
We'll start with the walk.
Gets king 6 off. Assume it's going to be a limp.
I wonder if he'll adjust his strategy at all now that they're getting more shallow. I don't think so. We haven't seen anything that would indicate that, but no, he is going to call.
Mark calls.
Yeah, that's a fine hand to call with.
Brian checks his option. Flop is 6 of hearts, 7
He
of
will
diamonds.
flop a pair on 7-6-3.
Yeah, king of hearts, I think betting and checking are fine. Betting and protect is just fine. Looks like Brian's going to lead, so it's going to be a very easy call for Mark.
400. Brian's going to bet 400,000.
I actually like this hand to lead with for Brian, too. It's too weak to check call. Do you have a gutter? You have a very weak backdoor flush draw. You have
Mark calls.
cards you can turn a queen, you can keep value betting, which is pretty
Turn
cool, or
card.
start value betting.
8 of diamond.
Do not know what happened.
Turn was the 8 of diamonds.
Check.
Brian checks.
Check.
Check by Mark. 3 of spade on the river.
So 3 pairs the board on the river.
Check.
Check by Brian.
Check.
Mark checks. Brian shows queen of clubs, 4 of hearts.
Sixes.
Mark shows king of hearts, 6 of clubs. Mark's going to win the pot, 6s and 3s.
Raise to 8.
Going up to 8 here.
Brian raises to 800K out of the small blind.
Fold.
Mark folds. Brian will take down the pot. Shows an ace of club.
I folded 6-5 to a min raise. Very tight.
They're trying to say something.
There's a shot of our Royal Flush Girls, Kat and Tuba. Hanging out in the crowd. Supporters of both these players.
Mark calls out of the small blind.
Ooh, hello there.
Now Brian here with a pair of queens.
Yeah, I don't think you should 4x anymore. They're only 25 big blinds deep. I think just a standard 3 times
3x
big
is
blind.
fine.
Yeah. guess
Raise
Mark's
to
just
1.2.
yeah, so
Brian's going to raise 1.2 million to total.
Mark will just fold here. There is a chance he just shoves. It's not the worst hand to do it with.
Fold.
Mark folds. Brian will take down the pot.
Well, he'll let that one go. So the queens take it down pre. A lot of big pairs in this heads-up match.
Yeah. Big pairs with no action.
Raise to 8.
Brian's going to raise to 800,000.
Mark's gonna go for 3-bet here.
Interesting. We don't
Mark
know
is
his
gonna
cards, but
re-raise.
he's going to take
Brian
it down
bucks.
there, unobstructed.
I'd like to know what he
Mark will
did.
take down the
Jimmy.
pot.
King Jack here for Mark on the small.
It's like he's decided to start raising.
And our first raise in a long time from
Raise
Mark.
to 9.
Mark raises to 900,000 total.
Brian with 9-3 suited in the big.
I really wouldn't be surprised if he made us 3-bet here. Just kind of being like, no way you can have it the first time you raise. You've limped for 2 hours in a row. Like, why would you ever raise anything good?
Which is a great point.
Yeah. And Mark actually does have something he's not going to get away from, but I could definitely see him 3-betting
Brian's
the
going
hand.
to call.
He decides to call. Hello there.
Flop is 9 of spades, ace
Quite
of hearts.
a
5
board
of
for the
hearts.
9-3 of hearts.
Check.
Brian checks.
I think he has the king of hearts. He's just going to value bet the flop.
$750.
Mark is going to bet 750K.
Calling our raising's fine. I would call. Guess the graphic's not up, but Mark has king jack offsuit.
All in. All in.
Oh, he just shoves.
Brian goes
Yep.
all in.
I really don't like that. He's never gonna call off the king high. Yeah, and Brian
Mark is gonna
had
fold, Brian will
9-3
win the
of
pot.
hearts, and the flop was ace 9-5 2 hearts.
You'd prefer him to just check call with a showdown value there and give his opponent an
Yeah,
opportunity
give him a
to keep
chance
bluffing?
to keep bluffing.
Yeah.
Or if anything, your hand's so big, and if you
Yeah.
know you're not really taking a credible line, considering you would reshove most of your ace X. I think you should make a small check raise and call a shove before you just rip it in.
Yeah, I mean, you're never getting anything better to fold. You're
Never,
not getting any
yeah.
worse hands to call.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Just do something. Make a small raise and get floated by a hand that's drawing very thin against you. Or
Raised 8.
so he's just pounding.
Brian
Looks
raises to
probably
800K.
90% or so. He's just gonna get shoved on here and snap fold.
All in. Fold.
That
All
one
in
went
by
rather
Mark.
quickly, much as
Brian's
you
gonna
described.
fold. Mark will win the pot.
Really hasn't been any out of line poker today.
No, we've been seeing, pretty capable and
Yeah, if anything, too in line in
Yeah.
some spots. People are just folding hands that they should be putting money in with. I think this hand's, if you're gonna play it, you should min raise. Give yourself a chance to have a little fold equity. You can semi-bluff a lot of boards with it. He decides to fold, which I don't think is bad, even though
Mark
it's
is gonna fold a small
pure
blind.
shitty
Brian will
connector.
win
It
the
is
pot.
3 high. I definitely don't mind folding that hand.
Brian with the button here. King 8.
I think we're gonna see Brian, first call from Brian.
Raised
Oh, he
8.
just sets a min raise. I would think he'd call
Brian
it
makes it
the
800K.
stack
I
size.
think we're going to see an all-in from Mark,
Yes,
right?
you are, and you're gonna see a fold. Having a raise or fold only strategy whenever someone's in push fold mode or rejam mode is usually not going to be the best strategy. You want to have some kind of hands you can just call with at this point. I
Mark
think
is gonna re-raise.
over 30 big
2.2.
blinds, just raising or folding is fine.
2.2 million total.
He chooses to 3-bet call it. I think either one's just fine.
You think Brian's just giving him a sweat here?
Brian's gonna fold. Mark will win the pot.
He was considering all the options, though.
One question we got from the Twitterverse is, what would you guys say is the benefit of limping 100% of the button in Mark's situation? We kind of talked about some of the drawbacks. I don't know
There
if we...
is no benefit. I mean, the bottom line is having a limping strategy is basically what you're trying to do is achieve. You're trying to make, or you're basically trying to lose less money than walking your opponent with some hands. So you build a strategy around a limp that also can have some type of raising strategy built in. So let's say you decide to limp a bunch of hands that don't want to get 3-bet but have some showdown value, like we were talking about with like ace-4 off, with an occasional trap so your opponent can't just pop you every single time you limp. And then you limp some weaker
Mark folds
stuff
on the small
too.
blind.
And then you go ahead and raise some hands that, aren't great to just give your opponent free cards with. Like, you say you have a hand like Queen Jack suited, you would love to make the pot bigger with a hand like that you're just going to overpair someone with. Or you also have a hand, let's say like 6-4 suited that is only 6 high but gets to semi-bluff, gets to value bet. Basically, its bluffs retain their equity. So what that means is like If I have 6 high, I obviously am not going to get to show that hand down very often. I'm going to have to bluff with it. But if I have a suited 6 high, I can flop straight draws and bluff. I can flop flush draws and bluff. I can make sneaky little straights and 2 pairs and things like that and win very good pots with them. Whereas limping the button with 6 high, it's really hard to win at showdown without bluffing. So having the initiative and being the raiser gives you a better way to do that.
Well, here Brian raises up, and thank you for a very thorough explanation.
Yeah, sure.
Brian raises up Queen Deuce. Mark with Queen 10 in the big blind. And you shove or call in Mark's position there?
It just depends on how
wide
what
you think
percentage
your
the button.
opponent is
Yeah,
opening.
and I think Brian's been loose enough. I think my default here would just be to call.
Flop is queen of spades, ace of diamonds.
Shove some
10 of
high raw
clubs.
equity stuff that doesn't flop as well.
Mark
Like
is first
I
ask.
might ship like a 6-5 of spades, even though because it just has so much equity against
Check
calling
my
range,
heart.
and then shove like all my ace X, all my small pocket pairs.
Yep.
Check.
Brian
Both
checks.
players connect on this ace queen 10
Ooh, my
board.
goodness,
Deuce
that's
on
gonna
the
do
turn.
it. That is gonna do it. That is gonna be.
That's going to put some money in this pot.
Yes, that is gonna put some money in this pot. I mean, Mark cannot have ace queen. He can't have queens. He can't have tens. He can't have king jack. Most likely, he
Can't
would
have
shove
ace
that.
10.
He can't have ace 10. So Brian's
Mark is
hand
gonna
here
bet.
is just
1.1.
virtual nuts.
Yeah.
1.1 to call.
He can't even. He very rarely even has a hand like queen 10. Queen 10 is the best hand he possibly can have.
He can't have deuces either.
No.
He can literally have queen 10 for
Yeah.
a better hand.
Yeah, that's it.
So how do you play this if you're Brian? And you're operating under the assumption that you have the best hand. And you're trying to maximize your value.
There's 8 million in stacks.
Yep.
So he calls. There's going to be 4 million.
2.8.
And he's going to go to 2
Brian's
points.
going to raise 2.8 total.
Yeah, I actually really like raising for that reason. You
I would
kind of
just
get to
raise
crap. You get to crap on him because he
Yeah.
never has good cards, and you do. So I would kind of, bluff him a lot, do some raises, expect to just stack like a.
And if you raise the turn, you have the opportunity to shove the river in a much more natural way.
Yeah. You're building stacks to have a pot size shove left on the river, or slightly less than pot.
Do you feel this hand is about to go shove and then call?
I think it should go call, check call, but that's just because
All in.
Mark
It's
goes
an all in
in.
and a
All
call.
in,
the
call.
LT just knows. So
Brian calls.
Mark's coolered him and got it in great shape here.
Mark shows queen of heart, 10 of spades for queens and tens. Brian shows queen of club, deuce of
Pretty
hearts
nice
for
to
queens and
have
deuces.
only 4%
Yeah.
to win.
Well, it's a 2-outer to a 2. Otherwise,
Chop cards, though.
Here comes the river.
Wow,
it's an
that's a chop
ace.
card,
That's
yeah.
going to chop it up.
Ace of
Ooh.
queens with a 10. It's going to be a chop.
That's a
pot.
dirty feeling for Mark.
Yeah, Brian playing good, running good.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you that I think in Mark's position it's better to call
For
turn
sure.
and then
Yeah.
check call river.
Yeah. Almost none of your hands get to shove.
Is there any rivers you would be folding there? Like if the jack or king of the flush draw on the turn comes in, do you check fold ever?
I'd have to think about it. I'll have to think about the way that my hands are
Yep.
distributed. But probably, I mean, I assume you're getting to call like over 90% of rivers.
Yeah.
Maybe all of them.
Yeah.
Just the fear of like the fluke card rolling off, it doesn't overcome the value that you make from having the best hand that you can have in your range and picking off a bluff shove on the river. There's a premium hand. Alti has a big smile on his face from the lucky chop he just got. It's like
Raise
900.
to 9.
Mark is going to raise to 900K.
It looks like he really likes his hand. I don't know what he has.
Brian
What do you
calls.
got there, buddy?
Yeah. Put
Ooh, that's why he really likes his hand.
Yep. Because he has the
Nine
ace and the
suited.
king.
No, the queen nine suited. is
Oh, okay.
Brian's. Yeah.
Here comes the flop. 5 of hearts, deuce
Check,
of hearts.
check.
7 of spade.
Check.
Brian checks.
Mark's gonna bet about
Mark is gonna bet
1.1.
1.1.
1.1.
Brian thinking this one over. Or posturing, I'm not sure, but he doesn't really posture that long. He'll take a beat or something, but
Yeah, he could be considering making it 2.4.
okay. So
Brian's
he'll
gonna
pass
fold,
that
Mark
one
going
up.
to pot.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he was fake thinking there.
Yeah.
It's
He
just-
liked his hand pre-flop. It hurts to fold a hand that you like pre-flop.
Oh, it hurts.
Another
Brian's
fun
going to
one.
raise to 800K.
Both players with hearts here.
Wow.
Mark is
Folds
going
check
to fold.
6 suited
Brian
with
will
Huh.
raise.
That's
I'm really
Surprising.
flabbergasted by
Yeah.
this stuff.
I think, like we talked about, Mark definitely more of a tournament player in
Yeah.
his experience, and I think some of these situations where he should be peeling, the 10-9 suited, the Jack-9 suited for the 3-bet, he's just a little less comfortable doing it
Yeah, I
than
think
a lot of
you
guys.
know, and
are.
if that, and to his credit, if that is something that he feels like he's a little less experienced at, it might be better just to play a positional game. But if that is something that you feel less experienced about, you definitely shouldn't be limping buttons. You should be min raising. You should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think out of position is hard to play, and that's fair. Wow. Ace and the ace. It's gonna be 900.
Ace to 9.
Mark is going to raise to 900K.
That's not getting folded.
Call.
Brian calls.
All right, so we'll go to the
Go
flop.
flop.
King-8 suited versus aces.
Ooh.
And that'll do it.
Wow.
That
Three
might
of
just
spades.
end our tournament here, Jason.
Wow, wow, wow.
What a flop. I mean, of
still gotta
course,
fade
the
the
board
board
could
pair.
bear, but
Holy moly.
wow.
Brian's going to check.
That's a cooler.
I mean, Brian's only check calling this flop. There's no shot he raises. That'd just be ridiculous.
That would be wild.
This poor guy has just run into it.
Yeah.
Huh? Twice now. He's just been
gonna
absolutely
bet.
coolered.
Plus, the one
1.1.
chance he had at doubling up, he gets rivered. And
Oh, yeah,
chop
yeah,
pot.
yeah.
Poor
So
Mark,
it's
I mean-
running pretty bad.
He's played a really great final table.
Yeah,
and
he has.
He's
Played
moments
exceptional.
away from likely being eliminated.
Yep. This just has to be a flop call. I mean, if you're sitting here with like Jack 6 off with the 6 of spades, which is what you have the majority of the time, or like King 5, you just want to call. So you want to protect
Yeah,
those
you got to
hands.
protect those hands with
Yeah,
something
and
in
you're
your
just gonna
calling
get
range.
barreled
It's
off
nutted.
against too. Oh, he's just gonna fast play it. It's unbelievable.
Brian's going to raise.
It's not going to matter this time, is it?
Yeah, and then Mark, it's
Total bet is going to be
probably
2
will go
million,
all in, but he shouldn't. He should just
600,000.
call here.
Yeah, it's not like he's going to fold on the spades anyway.
Yeah, I mean the
Might as
only
well.
value hands. I mean, basically the only hands that he's repping are 3-5 suited. That okay, if you turn a spade that sucks because you don't stack that hand. But outside of that, he's only repping straights or like top pair, which he can't have because you have 2 of aces in your hand.
Yeah.
Just keep those bluffs in there.
All in.
Mark's all in. Brian will call.
All in by
And let's
Mark.
find out what happens. And
Brian
he's just like, come
calls.
on, man.
Brian turns over a king of spade, 8 of spade, giving him the nut flush. Mark has a set of aces, showing 2 red aces.
I heard unreal from the crowd. Could be a $300,000 cooler. I was right that they were related.
Beard on beard.
Yeah.
Right there.
He's on 9.6. 9.6.
Mark is all in for 9.6 million.
Deuce of spades, 4 of spades.
We're going to see a turn card.
4
of
clubs.
4 clubs on the turn.
Deuce of diamonds.
All right, there you see it. 10 outs for Mark to win this pot and double up. Otherwise,
All right,
Brian
let's see
Altman
the
is our
river.
champion.
8
No,
of
it's an
hearts
8.
on
That
the
will do
river.
it. Brian Altman has won the Lucky Hearts Open and $723,000 to take home with it. Mark
Congratulations.
Dube, great showing
Brian
at this tournament. An online American online grinder who is now taking his talents to the live arena. Congratulations to him and to both of these guys for playing a fantastic tournament. Jason, thank you so much for coming in here today and filling up the broadcast with some fantastic strategy information. I'd like to remind you guys that we have WPT Fallsview coming up here in just a few days. That's in Fallsview, Canada, and Ontario. Niagara is the city. That's a 5K, and should be a fantastic event. The 2500 is going on as we speak. We also want to remind you about WPT National London. That will be going on starting tomorrow as well. That's a 200-pound accumulator tournament. And, of course, we will be back here at the Seminole Hard Rock in early April for the $5 million guarantee. So thanks to everyone there and at the World Poker Tour for their help with this tournament. To all of you out there, good luck and good night.
Good night.